All right, aloha and welcome back, or welcome to the first time for those of you who are joining in. This is another one of our Conscious Creator work periods presented here through Paradigm Shift Central. Again, this is a global community where we bring together conscious media creators to be able to help assist each other in leveling up our skills, developing our abilities as entrepreneurs, and helping assist and accelerate the collective shift in consciousness. Within these meetings, we're going to be going over some general tips and tricks and talking with some of the leading members here on air to be able to just kind of have some conversation based on things that they're looking with feedback and clarity on, things that for those of you who are watching this, who are also conscious media creators, will be able to have some relative insights on and just be able to learn from in general. So just bringing everybody up on screen here. If you guys just want to be able to wave, I'm joined by some fellow amazing leading members here in the community. We've got Casey, myself, Brendan. We've got another Brendan also as well, one of our newer leading members. We've got Curtis, we've got Lita, we've got Zentia, and we've got Oleg, aka Opvious. Awesome. Thank you again so much, everyone, for being here. And again, just as a quick introduction for those of you who may be new, check the information down in YouTube or in the Instagram to be able to check out past meetings that we've done, work periods that we've done. I encourage you to check those out. There's a lot of valuable information in those as well. And again, if you have not yet, please feel free to join into our Discord server. That's where you can connect with the rest of the team, get additional updates. And then if you want to join on air for these meetings, plus additional things to support you as a conscious media creator, be sure to check out my Patreon. That's where you can join at the $11 a month contribution. And that's where you get access to me as conscious media creation coach and also access to our full Discord chat, our weekly team podcast. And again, these create conscious creator work periods. So with that said, we're just going to get into a couple things that I just want to be able to mention off the top. And again, with this, we're not going to, with this one, sometimes I'll do like 15 minutes where it's kind of like tips and tricks. With this one, I just want to be able to get into a couple things news-wise. And then from there, we're just going to get right into the conversation because it sounds, we've already talked before we recorded this. So we already have an idea of what we're going to be talking about. But I want to be able to get into that. We're going to be talking with Curtis, going to be talking about some like additional like setups for like live broadcast optimization. From there, some of the other people we're going to be talking about just being able to how to drive people from one social media platform to another, talking a bit about analytics, building audience, and also talking a bit about even like setting up for podcasts and Discord management as well. So there will be all of that kind of mixed in here together. So starting off with just a couple things right off the start, we have our next broadcast coming up this Thursday. And again, that's going to be another one of our big full moon broadcasts. So these ones are always really, really exciting. So just want to be able to let you guys know that you are invited to be able to help promote this. Send me a direct message on Instagram and I can send you the graphic for that, or you're welcome to create your own sort of video promoting it. And again, that's Thursday, 8 p.m. EST, 5 p.m. PST. The topic is a global meditation and community panel on the spiritual wisdom of shadow. So that's going to be like, it's intentionally kind of broad, but shadow can be interpreted in a variety of ways. So we'll be talking about the symbolism of shadow. We can talk about, again, even like the divine feminine energy. We can be talking about the shadow work. We can be talking about lots of things. So we're going to kind of keep that open. And again, it's kind of in theme with like Halloween and everything coming up as well. And yeah, we'll talk more about like the details of the actual broadcast once we get closer to it. But again, just letting everyone know, and with the call to action to be able to help promote it, send me a direct message on Instagram and I can send you the video graphic, and then you can create the TikTok graphic as well for that using the video green screen effect. So again, that's just basic information. Other things that I was just going to mention, got a really, really cool piece of news to be able to let you guys know. There is a big event coming up very soon, this Thursday actually as well. So starting on October 1st and going till October 4th. And this event is the Portal to Ascension 2020 Global Online Summit. This is actually being hosted by a friend of mine named Neil, who's been involved with the community. But the exciting thing is that I am actually one of the MCs for the event. So this is going to be an event that's going to be broadcasted to a lot of people. And for those of you who are tuned in for this, check the information down in the show notes. I'm going to tag Neil as well as the website where you can sign up for this. And you can sign up with a donation, you can sign up for free, and then that will give you access to the conference. And it's ascensionconference.com. And then that will link you to the event and you can get all connected there. I'm going to be emceeing on Thursday at 2 p.m. EST, 11 a.m. PST. I'm going to be interviewing one of the speakers there. And then I'm also leading a meditation and just doing some general introduction on Friday at 1:30 p.m. EST, 10:30 a.m. PST. So that's really, really, really cool because honestly, there's a lot of speakers in this event that are like very well-known conscious speakers. So I just want to be able to let you guys know I hadn't really told too much about the community about that. I was just waiting for the finalization on the updates, but I'll talk more about that as we get closer to the event. And again, just for those of you watching, check the info below and go ahead and sign up, and feel free to check out the rest of the conference as well. So other things I was just going to mention in terms of just continuing to be able to help you guys with my ability to be here for you as a conscious media creation coach, just being able to do like a little bit of just like making sure that everybody's on the same page. When you guys are more than welcome to be able to DM me and direct message me when you need feedback on certain things. Absolutely, that's what I'm here to do. All I'm doing is just mentioning, just be aware that my primary hours are usually between like 9 a.m. and maybe like 5 p.m. EST. So if you want to message me sometime later in the evening, you're more than welcome to, but just do it with the understanding that I'll get back to it probably the next day. I'm not always going to be there to be able to promise that I'll get back to it immediately that night. Again, I just wanted to be able to just mention that way. So moving forward, you guys aren't waiting for a response on me if you do message me partway through the evening, but I happen to be out of the office, but I will get back to you as soon as possible in the morning there as well. So just wanted to be able to mention that. Another thing I was just going to mention real quick, just to be able to give you guys a little bit of a tip and a trick, even though I wasn't going to get too much into tips and tricks, is just the power of making sure that you have some sort of device to be able to take notes on a regular basis. Throughout my day, I do this very, very simply, literally just with an open text document on my computer. And in a regular process, I'm literally just writing out my regular steps each and every single day. It's not even something that I keep super organized. It's more just kind of like an ongoing text document where when a new day started, I literally write out my objectives, work through those, and then I kind of like update that list, and then I'll write out some new objectives, update those. And it's not something that I'm looking back to quite in the same way to be able to like keep things organized. It's literally just kind of this process to be able to give my brain a target within the immediate duration of, say, even just like the upcoming afternoon or something. So it just helps me keep really focused on being able to kind of create that list in front of me, visually see it, and say, I gotta do this, I gotta do this, 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 this. And then again, I pop those off, and then from there, if there's still a couple things I haven't done, I just add to that list, and then I go from there. And again, just having a text document where if you have some inspirational ideas that just come to you, just leaving those in the chat right away. But making sure you're doing some form of like note-based objective writing out. I didn't really say that very well, but like write out your objectives. Write out your objectives, and then have that as part of your routine every single day. This may seem obvious, but again, that's part of the reason why I just wanted to be able to mention it, because I know it works for me, and you don't have to do it in a way where it's super organized, literally just a text document. I have a text document where I do it, where it's literally just my like what to do for an entire month. So I'll literally just start my month, and then I just keep adding to that text document every day. I sometimes go back and read it, but it's literally just there to just kind of keep things moving forward and to keep me on track with what I need to do. Because the reason for that is because your brain can only remember so many things at once. So basically what you're doing is you're offloading the objectives onto a piece of paper, onto a document, and then it saves you the energy of being able to try and remember 5 things all within your head. Because again, this is actually a very valuable piece of information. You basically need to be able to keep in mind that when you wake up in the morning, you have an allocated amount of focus available each and every single day. So that means try and get as much of your major tasks done within the first part of your day, opposed to kind of like waiting into later in the day when your focus begins to dwindle. And that's no fault of your own. That's literally just a fact of how the human body works. But you will notice that if you can get most of your tasks done by the beginning of the day, you'll probably get them done twice as fast, opposed to waiting to the end of the day when your focus is a little bit, again, just it needs to recharge. So again, think of your mind, think of your focus as like a muscle. So just utilize it and use the list practice as a simple way to just be able to run through things really, really quickly. Like I did that today. Like I do that normally, but like every day there's a lot of things to do. When I create that little list, boom, 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 on to the next one. And it just keeps me moving forward without having to take those moments to be able to be like, oh, what do I need to do next? Like, try to avoid that. Try to avoid that situation where you should know what you're going to do next before you're done the task that you're already done, opposed to finishing a task and then sitting there and be like, now what do I need to do next? Create that list ahead of time and then just boom, 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 right into it. Anyways, I know that seems kind of obvious, but I just wanted to be able to mention that and just give you guys permission to literally just create basically, again, just like an empty notepad on your computer that you probably don't even need to look back on, but it's just valuable for just hitting off those main objectives for the day, plus any additional notes. And again, using those notepads, and you might want to create another notepad just for writing down additional inspiration, and that inspiration could eventually become content creation down the road. So that's like kind of a thing for another day, but like making sure that you're ingesting things that inspire you. So like read books, and then when when like a quote comes out in a book, write that down in your text document. That single quote could become a TikTok video in the future. And you hear something that somebody else says, watch something on a YouTube video, write it out, keep that in a little document. So that would be separate from your task document. That would be like an inspirational document. But just doing that as a regular routine, because every single thing of inspiration that you write out could become a TikTok video or an Instagram post a little bit later in the day. And when you're intentionally looking for these things, your brain starts to process it that way. So even if you're listening to a podcast and be like, oh, that's a really good idea, write that down in a notepad, and then boom, that could become a video for later in the day or later in the week or whenever it is. Anyways, that's basically all I just wanted to be able to mention there. So I guess that was a little bit of a tips and trick, just to be able to keep everybody streamlined and optimized throughout the day. Is that fine? That's like a simple thumbs up. Again, I know that seems obvious, guys, but seriously, like sometimes it's the simple things that are actually the most effective in the long run. So, okay, let's move into just being able to touch base with some of the fellow creators here. So we're going to pass it over to Curtis first. And then Curtis, just to go ahead and let us know, again, kind of like some things that you're looking to be able to get some clarity on. Some stuff we may be able to talk about outside the broadcast, but in general, we'll just be able to talk about it for the team as well. So Curtis, passing it over to you, and thanks for being here, dude. Go right ahead.
Yeah, cool. Thanks for having me. I'm Curtis. Right now I'm just kind of I've been awakened for quite some time, since high school. I'm 23, and I really found my true calling into the agriculture world. I'm gonna do some Patreon on that, but that's still in development. I still gotta go, more education. But other than that, I really wanted to talk about bouncing off from yesterday's, like the power of patience. I was going to like, how is user engagement as a pacemaker? Um, sorry, I kind of again a little nervous here. I wanted to go in and talk about how you use your feedback in term with TikTok, Instagram, and putting that over, and how you utilize it, because we talked about taking notes. Yeah, I just wanted to get your take on how you develop your, say, even a Discord through the actual, like, they're what people are looking for, and how you're gonna evolve your platform.
So when you say feedback, are you talking literal feedback from members in the community? Is that
Yeah,
kind
like,
of what you mean?
yeah, just kind of, the wants and needs of
Mm-hmm.
your community.
Yeah, yeah. I think, Curtis, thank you. I think that's an important thing, is to make sure that you're engaging with your community and you're paying attention to what it is that they're interested in, but at the same time, making sure that you're staying true to your own heart and following the things that you're most excited to be able to talk about. Because there may be some things where they're just like, oh, like you should make a video about this. But if it's genuinely not something that is like in your own excitement, maybe it's something that can wait, right? So I think it's important to ultimately check in with the feedback of your own heart first and foremost, while again using the feedback from the community to be able to decide on the priority of things that you're going to be able to deliver them. Because I think when you're creating community and when you're creating your Discord, I've kind of talked about this before, some things can kind of like roll out in phases where it's not always going to be like an immediate need. There's going to be some things that can be kind of something that could wait. I think what would be helpful for you is to almost begin creating like an overarching story. Creating, again, like if this was like you were writing a novel and everything like that, like what would the hero's journey be? Like what would they need to learn? What would be the things that would literally take them from like grade 1 to graduation sort of thing within the context of what it is that you're teaching? So if you can create almost like a little bit of a roadmap for you, I think that would be helpful. And then use the feedback from community to be able to decide on where you're zigging and zagging without fully going off your course. Because then, again, it's important to even just check in with the community, and you can create a little video about this. You could create like a poll within your Instagram stories. But it really depends. Like some community, they'll like actively be engaged with that type of feedback, but sometimes you'll put the question out there and you won't always get the feedback. So I think it's important to not depend on the feedback, but at the same time to be able to create like a clear path for yourself. And then again, just to be able to kind of like feel into the community, tap into like a meditative state and just kind of decide, you know, like, okay, out of these themes, like what's needed for today, what's needed for this week, what would make sense in terms of a sequence if you're building things from one aspect to another relative to your niche, if it's again related to permaculture, but also again just consciousness in general.
I'm glad that
So
you brought up at the beginning, how writing stuff down. You keep mentioning that, you know, I have trouble with keeping up with everything, and just it helps me figure out what I need to write down. You know, like actually how the user behind the scenes, what you're doing, how you're going to respond to it, and how you're. I wanted to go in and talk about utilizing other media platforms. You know, like TikTok, Instagram. Those go hand in hand. But I also want to talk about like your music. You know, I know some people want to they have other things they want to do, and how we're going to promote you. Like if you're a content creator, but you're doing other things, you know, putting that in your TikToks or putting that in your Instagram, and yeah.
yeah, I think it's good to be able to like again, you know, like have multiple hats that you wear. Sometimes I think the simple solution to that might be to just like make sure that you create a concise link tree within your profile. And this is something that I recommend for everyone. So make sure, again, Linktree is the website that you can use where you put in your profile where it basically just links all your stuff. And then within that, that's where, again, you literally have your music within your link tree. But then this is valuable for everyone. Optimizing your profile description. Your profile description is very, very important. That's where, again, your profile description should almost be a little bit of like a foreshadowing of what's in your link tree. Like I kind of do this where my profile description, it says a little bit about who I am and what I do, but then it literally says, it says like podcast, team chat, Patreon, item shop, and it's like pointing to the link tree. So basically when people see that, promoting your music is a great thing to be able to do, and incorporating it into your other content because it feels good for you is definitely something that I would encourage you to keep doing. However, because of, again, you know, like Facebook isn't really a thing anymore. So back in the day, you might have just taken that SoundCloud link and posted it onto Facebook, and then other people might have seen it, or even like a Reddit forum or something. It's not really working quite in the same way anymore. But I think if you just focus on, again, creatively being able to incorporate it into your content, and then again, even just reminding people within the information for your posts, click the link in my profile to check out more of my music, knowing that for the people who are going to be interested in it, they will go and check it out. But knowing that also, like, the music won't probably be like the driving force of your content, but it will be a supporting force and a legitimate part of your creative expression too, that again, I think is worth celebrating. And again, the people who are interested will find it. Just making sure that you create the path that's clear for them to be able to direct to it. So again, I think the simple answer of just creating a link tree and then optimizing your profile and then focus on building your Instagram and your TikTok with the direction to click on your profile link would be, off the top of my head, one of the ways to be able to do that. If again, but go ahead, let me know, and then we'll pass it over to another person in a minute.
Perfect. You brought up Linktree, going back to that, and you described that perfectly. And then we can talk about the YouTube going on, doing Zoom.
Yeah.
That's, we can talk about that.
Okay, cool. Okay, so does that kind of give you some feedback that you're looking for in general for the previous stuff?
It does help me a lot. And,
okay, cool, man. Yeah, no, I think it's great to be able to incorporate your music into your videos, and maybe even what I would recommend, just as a little bit of creative practice, even create some videos where maybe you're using the video app. Video Leap is one we've recommended, and playing around with some cool visuals there, and then putting your music into that, and then you have videos that are specifically about your music. and you do that maybe, you know, like once every like 5 posts or something. So I think if you create specific posts about your music content and then just incorporate that into the regular heartbeat of the content you're producing, that could be valuable for you. And again, that could go for anybody. I know for Oleg as well is big on the music, and I'm sure even Oleg would be able to share some additional perspectives on how they've kind of incorporated the music. And even getting your music up on Spotify would also be a useful thing. I know on Spotify, within Spotify, you literally have the option to share to Instagram stories. And then when you do that, it can like literally take people right from an Instagram story to Spotify. I think that's how it works. Oh, like, can you just confirm with me? Is that how it works? Like where if you share from Spotify to Instagram stories, people click the Instagram story and it takes them to Spotify without like a swipe up or anything? That's how it works?
Swipe up. Yeah, they got to swipe up. Yeah.
But do you need 10K on Instagram in order to be able to use that, or does it?
On Instagram, yeah. Oh, no.
No, I don't think it does.
No, you don't. You just click like the top left. It'll say like.
Yeah. So that might be another thing, Curtis, is make sure you get your stuff on Spotify, and then you can use the Instagram story to be able to relay it over there, just as another, because I know it's on SoundCloud right now. Does that make sense for you, Curtis? Like, could getting it on Spotify be something that you might want to look into?
Yeah, I just, if I was going to do it on Spotify, I would probably need more development in my projects, like more time. Just kind of, I don't really make music to like make it like a big project or like I just kind of do it for fun and informational stuff, just kind of weird concepts.
Okay. Well, yeah, it's something to keep in mind for the future. Just knowing that little bit of, again, like the Spotify synergizing with the Instagram is a nice little perk. So, but yeah, I think having it on the link tree and making a heartbeat of it as like a part of your content now and then would be a cool thing. And even just checking in with some of the other musicians, you know, even like Oleg might be able to, if that's something where you guys want to DM each other about, because there are other, even just posting in the musician chat. And even just because there's several musicians within our leading members, and maybe even just getting some feedback there, because again, that's not my expertise, but I can give some perspectives based on what I know. So, okay, cool. Curtis, is that good for now? We'll move on to, okay, cool.
Perfect.
Cool. Okay, awesome. Thank you, Curtis. Okay, just checking in. We didn't decide who wanted to go next, so whoever wants to go next, especially if anybody has to leave early, just go ahead. You guys are welcome to jump in. Casey, we'll pass it over to you then. Go ahead, Casey, and please feel free to briefly introduce yourself and welcome.
Okay, perfect. I was going to say, I like that Curtis did an introduction. So I was like, maybe I should just do an introduction. So I have been, I guess, kind of awakened since, it's been in the past probably 4 years. I went through a ton all at once. It felt like just this crazy ride. And here I am. It's turned into something really beautiful. So I'm lucky to be here, a part of this. And it's mostly kind of morphed into tarot, psychic endeavors, a little bit of mediumship. So it's been interesting, but thank you for welcoming me. The things that I wanted to talk about were mostly surrounded about content, the success I'm having behind certain websites like YouTube and Instagram are kind of rough for me, at least. TikTok kind of skyrocketed, which was crazy. So grateful for that. The things that I wanted to focus on, YouTube, I find that the amount of views I have month to month, because I do monthly astrology readings, are kind of crazy. One month I had like 1,500 views on a video. The next month I had like 40. And I was just like, this is kind of wild. Okay. So I'm assuming there must be like daytime. I started making my own thumbnails as a way to kind of appease more of like, oh, this looks nice. You know, like I'm interested in that. So I think that's kind of helping. And then same thing with Instagram. A lot of my posts, it's like, the views I'm getting are the same people and not new followers, and that's kind of where I'm struggling.
Cool. Awesome. Well, thank you, Casey, for sharing, and congratulations on again your reach with TikTok, and that's exciting to hear that, again, like with the YouTube videos, that those are getting out there as well. Though I understand that, yeah, like the consistency of it is like something where it's just like, okay, how do I optimize this a little bit more? I think again, you know, what I've kind of talked about with the leading members is essentially basically to use TikTok as a way to be able to bring audience over to your Instagram and to your YouTube. So that's kind of like where, if you're focusing on creating quality content on TikTok, that's going to be kind of like your primary community. And then again, those who are ready for it will naturally move over to YouTube. And then just continue to focus on creating quality content to YouTube, but understand that even with YouTube, it can be a little bit of a dice roll now and then. What I would recommend, if it's something that you're interested in, is making sure that you're utilizing the attention of people while they are there, without, and this goes for anybody, like I've explained this before, basically the views that you're getting on TikTok and sometimes on YouTube, it's important to almost think of them as almost being like borrowed views, meaning they won't last. Like it's great if they do, but you almost have to assume that, especially with TikTok, you know, you see this on some accounts, they'll blow up really fast. They'll have like a bunch of videos that get huge reach, and then it'll just go back to like maybe like, you know, 1,000, 2,000 views if they're lucky. And so it's making sure that, again, especially for you, when you're working with something like tarot, which can be such a personal and such an engaging thing with community, is how do you be able to bring those people from the YouTube or from the TikTok or from the Instagram into somewhere new, into what would potentially be a Discord server, or again, connecting them through the Patreon. So I think, again, opposed to like, if your objective especially is to be able to generate revenue and to be able to build community, again, I would focus more on just being able to be creating that back structure for a Discord platform. And then when you do create those new YouTube videos, you can literally start off your YouTube videos. Hey everyone, it's me, Casey. We're going to do a tarot reading. Be sure to check out the links below to join our Discord channel after this. Let's get into today's reading. Make sure that's like forefront so that they know. Don't wait till the end of the video to tell them. Make sure that they know that at the front. And then again, within the Discord, that's where you can provide like additional value, additional, you know, readings and things there, as well as, again, additional services and things like that. Because I think once you get people over to Discord, it's a completely different game changer, because again, that's where you get much more control over the content that you're posting. And plus, when you're building the Discord audience, you're also building a way for them to be able to receive notifications about new YouTube videos when you post through there. Your objective isn't to just like blow up the Discord, but if you start filling up the Discord with people who are genuinely there, they're going to start using that as both a place to be able to engage and a place that they know they're going to be able to get notifications for new content as it's coming out. So yeah, I mean, again, just kind of going back to that, without really fully needing to kind of like get too caught up in the analytics. I don't really pay attention to analytics too much. I pay attention to again, you know, looking at numbers and being able to be like, okay, this is popular, this works. Well, at the same time, making sure that I'm not just repeating the same thing over, bringing in a fresh style, going back to patterns when need be. But again, making sure that I've got the systems and the foundation created outside of those platforms, which I have full control over, and then being able to use those other platforms as a way to be able to invite people back to things such as the Discord and the Patreon. And that's where, again, you know, you could, because that's, I would hate to see, not just for you, but for other people, where you pour your heart and soul and it's just like, I did it, guys. Like, I made a YouTube video and it got like 100,000 views, but I didn't get any Patreon signups. And it's just like, okay, like, so not that it's a bad thing, but it's like, how do we utilize those opportunities when, you know, the fire ignites and you have everything in place, right? Don't wait for that next video to go viral and then be like, oh crap, now I need to create a Discord. What if you start creating it now? And then again, you softly start inviting people in and it just becomes a part of the ecosystem of the content you're providing, and your regular viewers will pay attention to it and it'll pique their interest. And yeah, and it'll be a cool way for you to just be able to connect further and develop your leadership role as well. But again, this is just brainstorming, Casey. Let me know if anything I say, if that kind of like resonates with you, or what do you think?
No, I completely agree with so much of that. And it's kind of stuff that I already knew a little bit. I wasn't sure who mentioned it yesterday, but someone was talking about different ways to kind of do an introduction in a video. So yesterday I actually implemented it into the videos I'll be posting in October, where I took out some of the filler language and started addressing them by zodiac sign instead of saying, oh, hey you guys, what's up? You know, being really kind of clear on my explanations. And I think it all kind of does come down to confidence. So I have started posting a little bit more, which hopefully I'll continue to do that, of clips from my YouTube and posting that on TikTok, and hoping that can kind of give like a snippet of like, oh, that's really interesting, I need to hear the rest of that. And I do want to create a Patreon in the future as well, because I think that what I'm doing now on YouTube can be a little bit taxing because I'm tapping into someone else's energy. So I kind of want to bring down the videos either to shorter and then again do kind of clips on TikTok or Instagram. And I know you talked about IG Reels as well. So that way I can bring over that excess content onto Patreon and be like, yeah, these are specific for you.
Yeah, no, I think those are all great ideas. I think just keep moving in that direction, and yeah, again, you know, for all creators, we just have to be really honest with ourselves to make sure that the energy we're putting into something is being reciprocated. And you'll know that based on feeling. So again, if you spend like all week working on something and then by the end of it, it's just like did this move me forward? Like it might have reached people, but like how are the relationships, right? Because I think again, at the end of the day, regardless of numbers, your objective should be focused on the one-to-one relationships. That's where the success is, right? Popularity and success are two very different things. So that's where, and this is the great news because people don't need to have 1 million followers in order to be successful. If you can focus on the individual relationships, that's where you're going to begin creating your connections with community and again, building your Patreon, your Discord, if that's a focus for you. Some people, it is just about being able to get the big numbers, and that's fine too. That's fine too. It's all about the intention. But yeah, just focusing on those relationships. So again, I think if you're just kind of like, even just framing, and I like what you're saying, again, of just being more mindful of how you're beginning your videos. If you're just framing things around, okay, how can I use this video as an invitation for me to develop a deeper relationship with these people? Hey guys, if you enjoyed this video, or hey Cancers, hey Aquariuses, if you enjoyed this video, send me a direct message and I'll send you a link for the extended reading or something like that. And you might be able to give people a bit of a sample if that's something that they're interested in, or send me a message, I can do your private reading or whatever it may be. I think just kind of using again, that call to action where we've talked about this before, but you put out the invite, you say, if you're interested, let me know. And then people leave a comment down below and then you contact them with the direct message when it works for you, which could, again, just be another way for you to be able to offer additional services. And yeah, and even just, again, you know, using your lives to be able to direct people back to your other services and everything like that. I mean, that's stuff we can talk a little bit more about another time. But yeah, I mean, just checking in with you. How do you feel like, even just like about like your next steps? Did what we talked about, does that give you a little bit more clarity?
Yeah, absolutely. That helps me so much because I think, again, similar to tarot is that you need someone else sometimes to just kind of clarify that, yes, that sounds like you're on the right path, you're doing the right thing, like keep going. So again, I'm just going to keep headed in that direction. I think it's a good direction to head in because I do want to create just like a community. I didn't have a community like this when I first started. I'm lucky to have it now. So if I can, you know, move people in this direction or eventually in the direction of something more personal with me, that's just the ultimate goal. Definitely numbers are great, but you know, right now I even have a group of about 10 or 11 women who are just fantastic, and they look to me for those, you know, deep moments where they need some guidance, and that's what's more important to me than anything. So yeah, so I really appreciate everything that you said. I think that I'm gonna just implement that, all of it, going forward.
Awesome. Well, that's exciting. And again, just send me a direct message if there's things that you're getting set up. Again, when you feel ready, if you want to do a Discord and a Patreon and things, because I do think that does have the potential to synergize quite naturally with what it is that you're doing. And again, by the time each of you have things set up, it should be done in a way where the work becomes effortless. It becomes just as natural as breathing. That's what you want it to feel like. You don't want it to feel as if it's something that it's like stressful and you're creating anxiety around it. And if you do, that's not a problem. But again, you want to be able to make sure that the work feels like it's in alignment. And that's when you know that you're on the right path. And again, I think I think that happens the most when you're getting the direct feedback from people. The numbers don't give you a hug quite in the same way as a message from someone who says, hey, this really meant a lot for me. And that's why you keep doing it, sort of thing. So cool. Awesome. Casey, thank you so much for joining in, and thank you for sharing. And again, I know what you talked about there is going to be relative for other leading members and people listening as well. So okay, let's keep moving along here. If anybody wants to, Brenndon, we'll pass it over to you. Brenndon with 2 N's, I should specify, just in case you guys couldn't tell by the way I was pronouncing it somehow. Brenndon, go ahead, introduce yourself, one of our newer leading members, and let us know what you're looking to be able to work on today.
Yeah, cool. So my name is Brenndon. I just joined up with you guys. It was honestly just like a few days ago. I was very excited to find it was very much in alignment. Just to give a bit of background, like everyone else, I've been in this for a while, I guess since childhood. My mom kind of fell into like the new agey conversations and books and stuff. And I was very young being around that. So it informed my worldview, went through my Saturn return. That was very crazy. And here we are. I really felt called to try and use all that I've learned to share it with other people to empower them. A bit of a story, I run Hyro. So Hyro is a social media platform and community for spiritual seekers of all types. And we focus on esoteric, metaphysical, and occult wisdom. That was born out of kind of necessity and seeing a need. Like many of you, I had an idea to start creating content. And I realized I was focused mostly on Instagram. And I noticed like, it's like walking through sludge. Things are it's not a great place to build community. You think, oh, I'll go to tags and find things similar to you or something, and it's full of people like posting their cats or like their lunch, just using the tag because it has a lot of numbers. And again, we have all these disparate spiritual seeker communities on there, whether it's witches, magicians, occultists, starseeds, all of that, in an increasing amount of like separate micro communities. And I saw a need for a community for everyone at once to gather, share their experiences, gather wisdom, learn something new. So that's Hyro. Like I've been saying, I created Hyro out of necessity. We have a lot of features on there. So there are a lot of topics over, I think it's now 40 topics, everything from alchemy, God spousery, polytheism, kundalini, you name it, we probably have it. Super open to feedback there. We add new topics all the time. We also have covens, which is a name for like our groups. So it's very similar to a Facebook group. You can create your own, invite your own members, have your own kind of sub-community. Each coven has their own activity feed, as well as their own topics, members, stuff like that. We also can host events there. And one of the things I'm super excited about, and hearing all the things that you guys are doing, is we do have the opportunity to monetize our groups. So we are, after our beta stage, which is what we're in now, I'm just trying to get founding members and fill us up with content. But once we've passed that stage, we have a special tier for content creators. So let's say you're somebody who has a large following on Twitter for your tarot, or like you were saying on TikTok, and you want to offer a space for exclusive content. Patreon is one place to do that, but you kind of can't also directly meet other people who are into your content on Patreon as well. Whereas with Hyro, you'd have your own monetized group that you can have people come to for exclusive content, also knowing that everyone that is on Hyro is interested in what you're doing. So the way I was talking to a friend about it is, on Instagram, you're kind of fishing and you're hoping to catch fish that are like kind of into spiritual worms. On Hyro, you know everyone there is into spiritual worms. It's then about, like Brenndon was saying, that one-on-one connection. Then all you have to worry about is, this person really vibed with what I'm doing. I'm not trying to just get them to be into tarot in general, or trying to convince someone to like come to me. They're already interested in this kind of stuff. And then it's just about reaching out, knowing the people who are there and stuff like that. So I just wanted to talk about what we're doing. And then, like I was saying earlier, I'm not sure how we would use this like workshop for what I'm doing exactly. I could tell you a bit about how I'm getting the word out. We're using Instagram. I was using Instagram mostly in the beginning. Growth was all right on there. I started trying out messaging people on Twitter the other day, and that is a much better space. At least for what I'm trying to do. We had our greatest number of people yesterday. We had 13 people sign up over the course of the day, and we just started, we opened our doors last week. So that was incredibly exciting. But yeah, I just wanted to get people's ideas on, well, I guess your ideas on, one, if you've been, I know, Brendan, you followed the Instagram, so you've seen it, how we're positioning ourselves, ways that you see we can grab quality users, because again, this is a private community. It's for everyone, but it's not for everyone, if you understand what I'm saying. It's not a place for people to come in to talk about other things. We're a subject-based community, very focused. So yeah, I just wanted to get your ideas and feedback on what you've seen. I know you haven't signed up for it yet or anything like that, but yeah, just wanted to talk a bit about what we're doing over at Hyro. Again, that's hyro.io, and yeah.
That's awesome. Thank you, Brendan, for sharing. And first of all, like, thank you, congratulations on the work that you've put into it so far. Like, as a person who's, again, like, managed community and everything like that, I know it's a very, 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 again, like, tedious process of being able to set everything up. And looking at the website, again, with the landing page, and let me know if there's a particular link we want to put into the show notes for this that people can connect to and check out as well. You're building this on Mighty Networks as well, eh? Has that been Mighty Network?
Yeah,
Mighty Networks is, because I looked into Mighty Networks a few years ago, but I just didn't go forward with it. But it's working for you though, eh?
Yeah, I'm using Mighty Networks while I build out my own app on Bubble. So one of the things that I've realized in my journey of like creating new businesses and projects and stuff is one of the biggest lessons for me is start before you're ready. So in my mind, I envision this app with all of these things. I'm like, why don't I just get as close as I can, start a community. We can always move the people who are passionate. They'll always move with you to a new space. And so, yeah, I just decided to go with them. And it's been really great. People have really enjoyed the space. I've gotten a lot of very positive feedback and messages. Like you were saying, those hug you more. Like someone was like, I feel so at home here. I've been looking for things like this. I love posting here. And that just means the world to me. So while the numbers are super small, like I go to bed really feeling like I'm in alignment and doing the right thing. So yeah, just to pass it back to you.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And just for context, for those of you not familiar, Mighty Network is a platform that maybe even people here might want to look into utilizing, where you can basically create like your own like social media platform using their platform and things like that. I've looked into it, but that was back in the day, but I'm sure it's probably been improved since then. So again, with where you're at right now, Brendan, in terms of where myself and maybe other leading members would be able to help, just to be able to communicate back, and you tell me, is to be able to, how do we bring people from other social media networks to let them know about Hyro and to begin to bring more people over into this space so that they can take part in this private community? That's kind of like what you're looking to be able to get some feedback on.
Right now I'm just building the community of founding members / beta testers. We're getting to know each other. We're getting to add content to all the different streams and topics there, test out the covens. I have a few content creators that when we get to the point, they're going to start bringing people in from their community, start testing how we monetize that. But yeah, we're at the point right now where I've like built this thing and I just need people to like try it out. How does it resonate with them? Does it feel good? What are different ways that I can leverage it, different avenues that we can take it to really just reach the right people? I downloaded an app last night. I knew it seemed like it was going to be like in the lane of like competitor for me. And I was like, I realized last night I had never signed up. So I go in there. I don't know what they're doing or what they're going about doing to like attract people, but the vibe was like off. There were definitely people in there and they were using it, but the vibe was like aggro and like it was weird. So I've been very happy with my just like attracting the right people slowly. At the same time, part of that is having the courage to open it up to other people and just see who comes in, and then we'll manage.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I'm getting a few ideas just kind of like coming off the top of my head that we can hit upon. Again, I think even just for me and you, this is stuff that we can talk a bit more about beyond this meeting, because we got about 20 minutes left. But I think, if you can bring someone in the community who could be comfortable, whether it's you or someone else, getting on camera and creating, again, you know, like a little bit of some even educational videos for TikTok based on some of the themes that would be common themes within Hyro. And then within that, you know, just making sure where it's like even on each video and just be like, explore these themes further, check out, you know, like it's hyro.io. And then, you know, just playing with that, because if you do that, that can put the signal out there. And again, I think what could also be cool, and whether maybe you've thought about this or something, but maybe even within your Hyro community, if there's some of the founding members or the leading members who are also organizing, you know, some like weekly like Zoom meetings that are broadcasted or recorded based on the topics that are featuring, again, some of the founding members who might even be, you know, like experts in some of these topics, to basically almost create like what I think would be really cool. And again, whether or not this is totally on track or if it might be something for later down the road, if you could even create some sort of like podcast that is based around the community. And then certain founding members are joining in on this. You might have like a regular host, that could be you or somebody else. But I think what's important for a community like this, and this applies for anyone, and I've talked about this before, is having a clear leadership and making sure that there is a regular routine and a regular heartbeat, something that brings people back together, something where it's, oh, every Sunday night, this is our broadcast events and I'm going to check this out. And they start to, because I think where communities like this can kind of collapse is when there isn't a clear leader. And it's not like the person is like the leader, but you do need some person that could be like a spokesperson. And maybe that could be a few people, but maybe they're the ones that are also putting themselves on TikTok. And then they're also the ones hosting a podcast. Again, maybe you let me know, because I feel like this is probably...
I didn't think of a podcast per se in that way, even though that's a great idea, but like going in the same line, I was thinking that the community have new moon and full moon rituals, where we can highlight different members' talents, speak about different things that are going on in the community, and whether or not a lot of people come or not, kind of like these things. It's just like knowing that there's an opportunity there for people to interface with other people in a scheduled kind of time. They know it's coming up all the time, and it will create content that we could share out in other places. I think that's something that's super unique, because I don't see, as much as you don't see broader communities focused on this kind of information that are like super inclusive of like everyone, you also at the same time, the few that kind of exist, you don't see them branching out from being strictly like interface digital. So I think that that was one of my first ideas, was to have rituals, like a new moon ritual, moon ritual, you know, they're coming up, and we could have different themes.
Yeah, I think that would be cool. I think it would be really powerful for you and the team to make sure that you guys do have some sort of presence on YouTube. So you should literally have like a corresponding YouTube channel. That's where you can re-upload your broadcast, maybe even looking at getting your podcast on Anchor, and then you can get it up on Spotify as well. Again, approach it as practice. But I think where you'll find your success is making sure that there's a regular heartbeat of your presence outside of the community itself. That way, so people, because there may be some people and they'll literally just see the podcast, and that may be their engagement. But then for those who feel the invitation further, that's where, again, they're connecting further. But it's an exciting thing for the community to be able to co-create the podcast, knowing that it's reaching an audience. So it kind of becomes like, again, there's like an aspect to Hyro, which would be kind of similar to what we're doing, where there's a bit of a production and behind the scenes element, that you create something of value, present it to the community, create something really cool, put a little bit of editing on it, and then, hey, if you enjoyed this, be sure to connect with Hyro down below and join as a XYZ type thing. And again, and we can talk more about this, but I think even just playing around with how to be able to create some content for TikTok, and maybe talking to some of your members, and maybe just, even if you want to be able to put them in contact with me, because I think, again, if you can have some, preferably even more than one, a face, you need people, you need people on camera, you need people who they can interact with face to face. Whereas opposed to right now, and there's nothing wrong with it, but your Instagram, it's all graphics. That's cool. But I think when we have the face, it just makes it much more personal and also inviting, and it makes it a real relationship for people to be able to connect to, which will lead them back to the community when they're ready. But again, just brainstorming off the top of my head. We'll get,
Great.
let me know, like, does it resonate? Is that stuff we can talk more about later, I guess?
No, I would love to talk more about it, and that all resonated. I'm going to step away and think about the different people and ways that we can do that. But like, that sounds like a great step. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. And that could be something where, yeah, maybe just take those ideas, pass it on to some of your other members. Hey, what do you guys think about doing a bi-monthly podcast about XYZ? And again, and that's where you can literally create a calendar where it's like week 1, this topic, week 2, this topic. And it becomes almost like a school curriculum where you're kind of leading in from, and then within Hyro, each week or each 2-week period is almost themed around the upcoming broadcasts, which would give you guys a kind of like container and a heartbeat. And then it just keeps evolving. And then you go back to topics when it's relative or something like that. That for me would just be kind of something where, like, if I was hearing about that, I'd be like, oh, that's pretty cool. Right. Because I think when people, especially when they're, because it's hard to get people off of these other platforms and convince them to be able to join in with a part of a brand new social media platform that they're not used to. But I think what's going to invite them is when they know that there's like a roadmap and they've become familiar with what has already been produced, and they're like, I want to be a part of the next one. Right. So it's an invitation. So yeah, but no, that's awesome, man. It sounds like you guys are doing some great work, and I'll definitely, we'll talk about this afterwards, because I'd love to even just be able to, get involved, and I'll check it out from the inside. And if that's something we even want to be able to share with some of the other members here in Paradigm Shift, I'm sure there would be others that'd be excited to check it out as well. So
yeah, thank you.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you as well, Brenndon. Beautiful. Cool, team. And Brenndon, did you want to make sure we have a link down below? What link could we send people to?
Yes, it's www.itshiro.io.
Okay, perfect. So that's the page that I'm on right now, and that's the landing page, and that's where people can request to join, essentially, right? Yeah. Okay, perfect. Sweet. So for anybody here listening to this in the future, if you're resonating with that, check the link in the YouTube info or the Instagram info, and I'll make sure everybody's tagged here as well. So cool, awesome. All right, team. I'm just keeping an eye on the time. I think we got maybe 10 minutes. I apologize if we're not going to get too in depth with everybody here today, but hopefully there's been some stuff here that have been, again, just valuable to people in different ways. Zentia, Oleg, and Lita, let me know if any of you particularly want to just be able to like get some quick ideas back. We do have time for it. So Zentia, we'll pass it over to you then. And let me just check in. Oleg or Lita, did either of you feel like you're okay? And then Oleg, if we talk about stuff, Oleg, I think what I might want to do with you, Oleg, is even just go through like some one-on-one, and we can just kind of go through your Discord channel. So that might be something that we can just like set a time to schedule, because I think that would make the most sense, and then we can just dial everything in there. So okay, cool. All right, Zentia, passing it over to you. Let us know if there's again, introduction, if there's anything based on what we said that was valuable, and anything else you want to focus on specifically. And welcome.
Hey everybody, I'm Zentia. I've been on a spiritual journey, I'd like to think, my whole life, through a series of a theme that never went away, whether it was Disney movies or music. It was just always there. I started my dark night of the soul at about 28. Big spiritual breakthrough. For me, it was a breakdown, so I could break through type of situation, all the way in Chicago. Now I'm back in Maryland. So I wanted to congratulate Brenndon. This is freaking awesome what you're doing. Like, I just had to say it. The events thing. I have an invite-only business as well. And I wanted to talk about traffic when you do have that type of service, and kind of integrating when you are a conscious creator. If you have other businesses coming in, can you integrate them? Is it safe, do you think, to kind of bring in, I know he was talking about music, other services into the conscious content without offending the conscious community at the same time? Also, I wanted to talk more about setting up online events. I know you had talked about Mighty Networks here, and I wasn't sure if that was a platform where you could set up big open spaces, like multiple meeting rooms for people to come into, something like that.
Okay. Yeah, I think if anything, if I can, maybe we can talk a little bit more about like what the vision is for your event, and then we could probably figure out how to be able to structure that, because it could be something where it literally comes down to making sure that you theoretically could just use Zoom, but then it's just making sure that the people have the information ahead of time. Again, depending on the scale of what the event it is that you're doing. So
Really
like,
big. This
yeah,
is like
go ahead.
worldwide.
Just, yeah, tell me a bit more about what the vision is that you got.
Well, I'm bringing in not a long time ago, about 2 years ago, I did an event at the Fillmore for psychics, and it was sponsored by the radio station. And because of Corona, I kind of wanted to redo that event online. It turned out to be really big, so big that we didn't even have time to see all the people. Like hundreds of people showed up. I thought we were gonna have like 100, but there was never another event thrown like this. The radio station actually, I think, shut down. And I really have been wanting to recreate this event because there was a need, apparently. And I would just want to move it here and create it. And I want to, I've been following readers on YouTube for about 6 years now, and I'm just getting back into it myself. But I've met a lot of people and going to school for metaphysics there. And at the event, I met a lot of people. And on YouTube, I've met a lot of people. And I want to use as a way to pay all of these people back that helped me along my journey. But also, there's a rush of people that want readings right now, you know? So how can I get all of these awesome readers money, energy back for all of the selfless love they give, and also help us out because it's Corona, you know, we're you know, use our talents and gifts in one place to connect and make some money and spread the light at the same time. That's the big vision. And
Gotcha.
the readers are like all over the world. That's why I said.
Yeah. Okay. So just if I'm understanding this correctly, and again, I apologize because we'll have to wrap up shortly, but again, we can talk more about this. So you're thinking of making almost like a digital conference. Would that kind of be more what it is? And maybe like over multiple days, or maybe even just one day theoretically.
Okay.
Yeah. I would honestly, because again, I know I mentioned this at the top of the broadcast. Again, what I was talking about, like the Ascension conference that I'm taking part in, I would encourage you to even just like go to the website and see what they got set up, because I'm still learning through the process of taking part in this, but my friend Neil, who runs it, he's been doing this stuff for a while. So I think whatever he's doing, take a look at that, even tune in for some of the conference, and that will probably give you some ideas. And I'll definitely kind of like keep my mind open to being able to see how this could be possible. Cause like for myself, even, there's always been this idea of like doing like some sort of like Paradigm Shift Central conference where it'd be like kind of like a day-long broadcast with different speakers and everything. For myself, the only reason it just hasn't happened yet is because it's just not something that at this moment feels to be a priority. So I would just make sure that, like, again, like whatever you're working towards is something that, you know, you're putting enough ahead of yourself that you can just kind of build up to it over time. Because I think whatever this is, it obviously, again, it's something that you're willing to do and you're passionate about. It's something that is going to take a fair amount of coordination. It's going to take multiple people, a lot of management, Google Docs, Zoom calls, websites, event hosting, all of this stuff, right? So I think just being able to study what's already been done is going to be a good way for you to just be able to get a scope on how it might be possible for you and how you can modify it. I don't, like, just to answer your question, you're talking about Mighty Network. I don't think Mighty Network would be quite what you're needing, because Mighty Network is more of like a social media platform that people can, like you create like a social media platform and people sign up. But I think if you're creating a way where it would probably just be like people register on a website and then they would receive like automated emails that would send them links to be able to tune in. And then they could also be able to take part there, and then it would have an itinerary with the different event speakers, and you create that schedule. And it can still be done fairly simple. And I think if anything, what you might want to do is maybe even just, you know, plan for something a little bit smaller, using some Zooms and maybe even, you know, just like moving ahead with you kind of like hosting even just like, you know, 1 or 2 speakers for like half a day, just to be able to help like bring some of the audience in. And again, if you can kind of with what we were talking about with Curtis earlier, the idea of being able to rebroadcast your Zoom onto YouTube. And then again, you know, just making sure that people have the YouTube link and then they can tune in on YouTube. Or maybe if people want to be able to get special access, they can join on air through Zoom, and then they can get like a private or get like an on-air reading with different readers or something. I think there's a lot of options there. Go ahead. Yeah.
it's more than speakers. It's more like,
Yeah.
it's hard to get, psychics are so busy right now. It's a little harder to get us individually. So this will be a way for readers to show up, and it's almost like a psychic store. Everyone lined up at the door, and we were all sitting at our tables, and you jumped in the line and you got to see the psychic. So I wanted like a promo of every psychic, and you like that person products, you get in line for that room, that psychic, or that time slot. So it's like maybe twice a year I'd have it. And for the psychics, they'll get over these days a rush of customers and promotion all at once, because that's what we got, you know, free promotion. We got a ton of people to see. But everyone from people from Netflix, Dr. Phil were there. It was from all psychics to big psychics. Everyone was there. So
that's awesome. I love me a good psychic expo. Like it would have been one this weekend in our city, but obviously it's on hold right now. But no, I think that's a really cool idea, and I'll definitely, again, if we can talk more about that, that can be something that, you know, I'll help out where I can, because I do like the idea of doing some kind of like a digital format of essentially what would be like a physical psychic expo. How it would be, I'm not 100% sure yet, but I think that's just part of the process, is that, you know, it'll start to become clear once we figure out the resources and the options ahead of us. So, but yeah, let me know, Zentia. We just got to wrap it up here in a minute, but let me know if anything else, or again, I think we'll just talk more about it another time as well. So. Is that cool? Okay. All right. Okay. Thumbs up. Perfect. Okay, cool. And again, Oleg, Lita, thank you so much as well for joining in. You're okay. I know you didn't get to jump in, but you guys still got to learn some things there. Perfect. All right, team. We're just going to wrap it up here. Again, I'm just trying to make sure that we keep this under an hour. I think we're literally just about an hour, and then it just saves me a little bit of time so I can re-upload it to Instagram. But again, for those of you watching this in the future, check the links down below, join our Discord, join on Patreon at the $11 to take part as a leading member, get access to these meetings, etc., etc. Connect through all of the links down below to be able to follow the fellow leading members who have been a part of this meeting, and stay tuned in and go ahead and check out past ones. So until next time, we can wave goodbye to everyone. So thanks for joining in. We love you guys. Woo! All right.